Oh my gosh, guys, we have a classic demon in a Vicky suit, in a Michael suit dilemma, or do we? We're talking about that and so much more on today's episode of AfterBuzz TV's After Show for The Good Place.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the AfterBuzz TV After Show for The Good Place. So excited to be back. Didn't see you guys last week, but these ladies just rocked it so hard.
Thank you.
So I'm glad you guys are back to join us. Alana's not with us this week, but she'll be back next week, and hopefully we'll have a full panel of fabulous ladies. So looking forward to that, but today we're talking about Chapter 43 of The Good Place, Tinker, Tailor, Demon, Spy. So before we get into the episode, let's talk again to our ladies on the panel here. I've got Miss Samantha Jacobs.
Hi.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. This was a great episode. I'm so excited to talk about this today.
Yes. And we've got also, please don't let me mess this up, Shiksha Mitani.
That was perfect.
Oh my gosh, girl.
Thank you. I'm really excited. This episode was amazing. So happy to be here at the Good Place with you guys.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think for me personally, this is one of my favorite episodes of the entire series.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about it?
Yeah, it was really great. Very positive, very funny. Just kind of showed us what we love about this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about for you?
Yeah, it was very lighthearted. It definitely had some punchers in there. I love the twist, and they got to the twist, so I can't wait for us to definitely unravel that, but I'm glad they pulled that on us.
Yeah, they got me. They got me for sure. But before we get into the major parts, the chunky parts of this episode, I want to talk about how our squad, how all of the characters are doing here, current state of affairs at the beginning of the episode. So they're playing Magic Pictionary.
Yes.
Yeah. Magic Pictionary.
Best thing ever.
Yes.
I think it's terrifying because people do not draw very well, period. Like, minus Chidi, but like people in general, it's not people's jam.
Yeah.
So that would be extremely scary to play.
Like the horse.
Yeah.
Chidi's
and
horse.
I love that they did one like, a nice one, like a nice easy butterfly.
Yeah.
And then like Chidi doing this like crazy monster demon horse.
That's true. All my drawings would come out really warped and crazy and freaky.
I like
so.
stick figure people.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you.
But like
Yeah.
creepy ones, you know.
And I loved with this horse. They had like the production design was so great, and like the graphics team on this show is amazing. And like the eyeball was like hanging out of it, just next level. And then the horse eats the butterfly.
Yeah, it
So-
was really something else.
It was amazing. So we've got our folks that we're trying to rehabilitate. Brent is there. Apparently he's drunk all the time.
Yeah.
And we can't stop him, right? If you're asking for drinks in the Good Place, then you can just keep getting them. Simone is definitely side-eyeing Brent, which
Yeah.
is fun
Yes.
because Brent was like, yes, brother. And she's like, no.
And those T-shirts.
They had team T-shirts.
I love them so much.
Yeah, they
What were
definitely
they?
did.
Chidi, Brent, Simone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's like a take on a popular design of a T-shirt that I see Anthony on Queer Eye wear a lot.
Oh, okay.
That's where I recognize it from. I know it's like a famous design somewhere, but
Yeah.
unfortunately I'm not that cool to know where that comes from. And then we've got John. It seems like John and Tahani are just vibing.
I know, I love it. And you know what? I love that they didn't just do that all of a sudden. They really used last episode to show how they got to that place, and now we get to see the results of that.
Yes.
Pretty nice.
Really
Yeah,
nice.
They're having fun, and you can tell it's genuine. So, like you said, it's just we got that episode where we got to unlayer their personalities. They connected.
It was so good. And they connected. Like, I love that it was like not just any butterfly. It was a specific butterfly. It was Mariah Carey's butterfly. Of course.
I know.
obviously.
Duh! What
Duh.
butterfly would you not want?
Specifically that one.
Didn't he say he wrote his whole thesis on that butterfly? What? What did he study? Have they told us what they studied? What he studied?
No, but it's probably just because of his gossip, celebrity
Yeah.
gossip.
Yeah, something to do along
background.
those lines, but to focus on just a tattoo.
Yes.
I mean,
And their fascination with celebrity is just like maybe they're soulmates, you know? Oh, okay. That was an early prediction.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Wait,
Sorry.
I'm not
Made us
ready
think
for
for a
that.
second.
I'm not ready.
Awesome. So after we have our Magic Pictionary, the team goes back to regroup because Magic Pictionary kind of was a fail. And I wasn't quite sure from looking at it if it was an intentional fail to push them further together or if it, just happened to be planned wrong. What do you guys think?
Oh, interesting. So, what, they made it go
Yeah, like just like when they have like the flying
Manipulated
shrimp, or
it.
like when things kind of melt down, just to like have them come together. So
Unique way to do it.
yeah, and on that note, that's why like I want to talk about how Chidi's doing in this episode, because we don't get a lot of him in the whole episode, but we do touch on him, and he's sitting. Eleanor finds him trying to learn how to draw horses, because he's like, everything I do is like ruining everything else. So as far as Chidi's state of mind, that's where I kind of felt that was on purpose to push him in the direction of helping everyone, because like that's his thing.
Yeah, when Eleanor said, he's making himself miserable to ease the suffering of others. It's so cheaty, and it just shows us again what we love about him, and just shows us his growth also to being a good person. He is a good person, but he's still extremely obsessive. I was sad that we didn't get that much of Chidi though.
Yeah.
And I think more so because he's currently not part of the team. And I don't like that. I don't like that he's separate. And I know that there's a reason for it, and he's a good guy, and he did it to sacrifice himself. But it's like, everybody's together minus him, so he's really missing out on those experiences, and that kind of bums me out a little bit.
That makes me feel like that's why it was a thing that went wrong instead of something that was pre-planned, because maybe this is a moment where we actually kind of get everybody to bond in some weird way, instead of it just being, okay, us versus them. Like, this is a moment where we can try to at least be kind of connected in some fashion.
Yeah, that makes sense, because they already did get him on board. So this is more of a team building scenario.
Yeah.
That they're only doing Magic Pictionary with our star players and none of the other
I know.
neighborhood people.
Who are they anyway? Whatever.
They have no idea. They're living their best life.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
They're eating
definitely
yogurt,
are. And then there was like something with this episode that I really was enjoying. I was like, yes, we get to see everybody else together. Oh, except Chidi is like left on the bench.
Exactly. And he's part of the team. The whole 3 seasons, they've been a unit almost, defeating Michael here and there, but now they're not. So.
Yeah, now they're not. But so speaking of defeating Michael or not, we've got our big dilemma of this episode when Glenn from the bad place shows up as our hooded creeper on the train tracks. What did you guys think when Glenn showed up?
Well, since you weren't here last week, we had a prediction of who we thought. I thought it was going to be Derek.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was going to be a Michael suit.
A Michael suit.
Yeah.
So we both were wrong.
We did not see that coming at all, actually. But I was really excited that it was somebody like that, somebody we just didn't expect, who was coming for good reasons almost, but from the bad place.
Yes.
Very weird twist. Everything's kind of, I mean, when you're from the bad place, you're just bad, and now they're kind of mixing things. So.
Yes. So when Glenn showed up, so I didn't have any like quite predictions, because I heard you guys' predictions. I was like, okay, it could be either of those, because like Derek's been recently rebooted, and then we still had this like concept of this Michael suit floating somewhere. We don't know what's what. But then Glenn shows up, and I was like, oh, well, where are we going from here? Because I remember he's a bad place guy. Like, why would he cross the picket lines? Why would he cross teams? So what did you guys think about what his motives were when he showed up?
I wanted to believe him. I wanted to put full faith in, like, maybe he can change. Maybe this whole experiment is affecting the bad place people because they're watching this as a game, and maybe they're actually seeing how it could work or believe in it, or just get one step further to becoming a better person.
That it's like a game?
Yeah.
That's
or
a
like
cool
they're
thing.
maybe they're trying to change. They're not I'm getting all jumbled. Okay, by not being the core 4, it's changing other people in the society. So then eventually maybe everyone could potentially become a good person.
Oh my gosh. So it's like Hunger Games, or like kind of watching them on the show.
Yeah.
Like there's,
so
like,
when he
bets being
blew
placed.
up, I was like, come on.
Yeah. But he's not gone for
That's
good.
true.
I like what you said, though. It's as if they're all watching a game show, and as a result, it's affecting them. And because when we think about our lives, we watch different things on different types of media, and it does affect our lives and the way we think. Example, this show. So it's pretty cool to think of that happening within the show too. So
yeah, it was interesting for me, because the way that they had him explain it, that he was like, So yeah, like I was on board with them, but then I found out, I love torturing people, but then I figured out that not everybody deserved to be there, and I was happy to torture people who deserved it. So the demons do have a heart, which is proven to us because of what we've seen with Michael.
Yeah.
So it's not totally out of the realm of the show for Glenn to have a change of heart as well. He's like, I love doing this.
Yeah.
But with these principles.
Which is crazy to me, because if you're a demon, you're just a demon. You just want to do harm to everybody. So now that kind of shifts things a little bit.
Yeah, it does. It does shift things a little bit. So we've got the reveal that Glenn brings, that he's like, listen, I got something to tell you. I need to tell you by yourself, Eleanor, because it's going to make an awkward situation. Like, what does he care? Just like tell them, right? But he tells us that Michael that we have currently in the good place, or, in this version of the good place, is Vicky in a Michael suit, which
I
said.
I guessed it. I was so excited. I literally, you guys, we watched it together, so you heard me scream. Yeah, I called it. It was Michael I immediately thought after episode 1, it was Michael in a Michael suit, and it was bad Janet in a good Janet suit. So, yes, I'm very excited about it. Very cool the way they did it. They literally just laid it all out there and said, so that whole dilemma was interesting. Immediately I was thinking, okay, well, you need to be asking Michael questions like about their time on Earth, about things that only he would necessarily know, and that's not what they did.
Yeah.
The fact that Eleanor was like, oh, well, actually, because you were you were willing to sacrifice yourself, now you're Michael. But Vicky was there in the good place, and she saw Michael and how he was growing as a demon person. And so I almost think that she would have guessed that he might do something like that. So it needed to be something else, so it could still be bad Michael. Just saying.
Yes. I'm on that plane, or on that train. I'm like, I'm still unsure. So what do you think?
I have no idea. I'm confused. Like, why did they do this?
Yeah.
I want to believe that it is Michael, and he really is there, but why wouldn't he say it was a bad Janet when it was a bad Janet?
What do you mean?
Like Glenn, when he came in, he said that off the bat, it's Vicky and Michael, but he said nothing about Janet. So was he really there to stir stuff up and protect Janet low-key, or is he there
I don't think
being
he knew.
truthful? He didn't know it.
So I feel like because Janet, that we eventually learn is bad Janet, made the lie detector, and she's the one who was pointing it at Glenn, was to blow him up.
Oh my God, I didn't think of that.
To shake him off of her trail.
Yeah, I thought that too, though. I was like, oh, that makes sense. It was bad Janet.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think that he knew about good bad Janet, because he only knew about Michael because he helped design the Michael suit.
Yes.
He had nothing to do with the Janet. He wasn't there during the swap. How was he supposed to know?
Yeah. I think it, like all the Janet swap, all of that, all the logistics of that are below or above his pay grade.
Yeah.
Like he's like an engineer, he's a nerd, you keep him in the office, you build this thing, and he's like, but what are you guys making it for? Because we even see that in the flashback, that he, in his memory of it, is asking like, so what are we doing with this? And they're like, shut up, Glenn. You're a dummy. So it's above his pay grade. So he might not have known. He might have known something was going on, because I feel like he just put it together because he saw the muscle guy and Sean cheersing.
Yeah, because he saw them celebrating after having just made the Michael suit. He just assumed.
Yeah, I think those are the dots he connected, but I don't know if he necessarily saw Michael leave, have the Michael suit leave.
But I'm still I'm just not. I'm confused, because why did he actually take that trip to warn them? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. What would have caused him to do something like that? Did they do something bad to him in the bad place? It was like, oh, well, screw you guys. I'm going to go.
He could have a change of heart.
He's a demon.
But he said,
did.
Michael did.
But Michael was influenced by humans.
We got Ivan Soto in the chat, and he said, it's our Michael.
It's our
He
Michael.
said, did you watch the episode? I'm trying not to be mean. It's our Michael. Ivan is down for Michael.
Oh, Ivan is totally team real
It's
Michael.
still up for grabs. I don't know. It could still be Vicky pretending to be Michael. I mean, What did he do that Vicky wouldn't know to do?
What'd they say?
Carol Lou 744 said, I bet Michael and Jason are going to return, but they're both going to be replaced by suits.
Oh. Even Jason?
Jason. Oh my
snap.
gosh. That's really amazing stuff that could happen because now it's already built into the world that we can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that that's where, like, it could be questionable with it being real Michael and him being embarrassed. You know, if real Michael's embarrassed to take off the suit, right? That was one of the things that they were like, hey, we can prove you're real. Take off your suit because if you take this off, you're either Vicky or you're your real demon form.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, isn't there something that Eleanor and Michael can say to each other, or that she knows that Michael is going to respond to? Like, there has to be something that they did, or is Vicky totally in Michael's brain by being in the suit?
Which is why there's one specific moment that happened a few episodes ago where Eleanor was like, you had a breakdown on purpose. And Michael was like, that I didn't quite believe. That's where I'm still unsure about this, the legitimacy of our current Michael.
The only thing that I think Michael could refer to that would make it, like, we would be sure it was actually Michael is the stuff that has to do with Earth. Because Vicky wasn't really a part of that journey. It was just Good Janet and Michael with them. So he needed to be saying something to her, something from that time. Which he didn't.
He did not. So, you know, they had a few different things that they tried to do. But then, you know, prior to all of this, because of where they're keeping Michael, we're in Derek and Mindy's, like, sex toy playroom. You know,
that was like 50 Shades of Grey, but Derek version.
Yes.
So funny.
But I do also like rebooted Derek and his white suits.
I love it. He looks so smart.
He's so smart. And did he say something to us that it was like, oh, you did, like, improve a little bit?
No,
not
for me.
Not for you.
He's still just Derek.
He's still just Derek. But so interesting, like, sex toys that they had in there. So there were the handcuffs, the ones that they showed us first. So those are magnet handcuffs, which we've learned in previous episodes. You put that on a Janet, it makes them drunk, essentially. Magnet handcuffs make Janets drunk.
Yeah. You're right.
And then how that would, once putting that on our, you know, current Janet that we had, revealing hers, because she's, like, a little bit jumbled up. So that would reveal her. So then there was also these, like, diapers, like sex diapers.
Yeah, weird.
You recognize from the jangle, which was so funny. And then there was a contraption that had, like, whisks on it and, like, a few other things. He was like, it's chime time.
Yeah.
And as we know, Derek's privates are chimes.
So weird.
So weird.
I have nothing to say.
The show is strange.
Weird to even think about that.
50 Shades of Derek, LOL.
Oh, that's who said that?
That's funny, Ivan.
That's funny. I like that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we've got our thing that kind of pushes us in one direction or another is the lie detector that Janet makes, and she's like, if we point this at a demon, if they lie, it'll light up blue or red or green or red or something like that. So, you know, let's demonstrate. Let's point this at Glenn.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Glenn explodes. But we do find out that that's not, like, the end of Glenn.
Yeah, thank God.
They have to regenerate. Because I was, like, a little sad. I was like, oh, I like Glenn.
I know. He was coming to help.
I did like Glenn. I'm Team Glenn.
Yeah, I'm Team Glenn too.
They make you actually like this demon.
Yeah. So we blow up Glenn, and then now, you know, we've got our Michael, who was like, okay, what do we do? We can't point this at Michael. We need to clean this up. We need to regroup. What are we going to do? And during that time, Jason has his moment with Janet. How did you guys feel about that? Because I feel like I was tricked.
I've been saying this from the beginning. Jason has these random moments of clarity where he's actually smart and he figures things out before anybody else, and the rest of the time he's just not very smart. But so yeah, it just kind of, it was nice to see that moment where he figured it out before anybody else, and it had to do with Janet, so it was super cute that he just knew that it wasn't her because of not a girl or whatever.
I love when a man pays attention.
I know. It's the little things, the details and stuff. Yeah. So that was really cute to see. Right?
Yeah, I felt like something was off. I feel like she forgave him or was too I don't know, not forgiving, that's not the word, like emotional maybe, because she isn't that emotional. I felt that it was too much, but I didn't think that it wasn't her. I felt like maybe Jason was a little off or something was off in their conversation, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was.
Yeah. It did feel like there was something off, and I hadn't quite connected it all, but I remember in last week's episode, Janet is giving like bad advice, and she's like, oh, obviously, Tani, what do you need to do? Gives her punching gloves.
Yeah.
And I think also says like, you got to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
Like, which is
something.
what Glenn was saying you need to do to a demon in order to, show him what's what.
Yeah.
So I just love that little moment, like when he's hugging her and, we see his face. I didn't quite connect yet that it was a realization. I thought it was just him being happy. But Jason comes through where Michael's about to blow himself up, and then he comes through with the sex magnet handcuffs. Shoop!
That kind of did come out of nowhere, though. He just, hey, by the way, whoop.
Yeah. Well, the way that they kept cutting to him, I thought he heard something that Michael said and was about to say, like, this is definitely not him or definitely is him because of something that, like, historically only they would know, which, again, like, they didn't touch on. And if you guys in the comments found something that we are missing as far as that, please let us know, because, like, I still don't think anything in their conversation proves that this is our current Michael.
No, they didn't.
But Bad Janet.
I know.
Bad Janet, the switcheroo. They brought two Bad Janets. One was distracting while the other one marbleized. Yeah. Our Janet, who is now in the bad place. Which then brings us to my favorite part of tonight's episode, was Jason standing up for his woman.
I know. Amazing.
He's gonna go get her.
Yes.
And he looked so smart getting on that train and his suit and his hair was all combed. Yeah, he looked really cute.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I just love it so much. And we didn't have to call the judge because she was going to make them reboot everything.
I was so nervous they were going to reboot, and I was like, no, please, it's the last season. Don't.
No, we don't have time for reboots. We need to move along. So it's good.
I feel like that was almost a nod to the first season because of all the reboots that they did have to do. And it just kind of showed that even by redoing the whole experiment, there is the possibility of having to reboot. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I also just didn't want them to reboot. We've already made progress. We want to get on with it. Yeah. So I'm glad that they're not. But if they had called the judge and told her that the bad place had, messed with it all again, maybe they could have struck a deal or something.
Yeah.
To keep them on the good place because they're not in the wrong. The bad place was warned. Do not mess with them again.
Don't do it.
Remember that? Yeah. And they did it anyway.
Right, because they're the bad place. So of course they were going to.
Yeah, of course.
All right, well, noodle on that. We're going to talk about our predictions in a little bit. But first, let's get into our special segment.
Okay, special segment, you guys, for your reference. So there were a couple of references in this show. We had John mention Mariah Carey with the butterfly. Then we had Tahani mention Mary-Kate Olsen. That was the only one she mentioned, actually. Yes. The name of the episode, you guys, was Tinker Tailor Demon Spy, which is a nod to the movie Soldier Spy. And my favorite was Jason saying, hey, if you're a demon, if you're a devil, how come you're not wearing Prada? Amazing. Yes.
I love that.
Such good references.
Right?
Such good references.
Yes. Next up, I really wanted to talk about this since we had the reboot conversation in our show today. Was there something that happened to you in the last week that would make you want to reboot your week?
No, I actually had a pretty good week. There was one part of my week that I was like, oh, why did I make this decision? So maybe there's like one day.
Okay.
But I ended up having to drive to UC Irvine. I thought it was going to take an hour and a half. So I gave myself a 2-hour window to get to my destination 30 minutes before my call time. It took 2.5 hours. It was going to make me late. I had been in the car for so long. I had to pee. I needed gas. I had a panic attack. But I got there.
You got it.
I got there and I did it. So that's like the only part. But the rest of it, like, it's
pretty good.
Pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's not so bad.
Not so bad.
This is LA. Driving's insane.
But like when you when it's an extra hour of your time, and then you just
crazy.
But I talked myself down. We were fine.
Okay, we were good.
UCI is like right off the highway too, so at least there's that.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah. What about you?
I would reboot to Monday. I would reboot Monday. and start working out for the week.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I didn't work out at all this week, and I need to.
Oh, well, today's a new day.
Today is a new day.
It is a new
So
day.
I would reboot that.
For me, it was just procrastinating. I had a couple tasks that I needed to do on Monday, and then I waited till Tuesday, and then I was stressing myself out more throughout the week. So if I could go back, I'd just make myself do the work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure some of you can relate.
yes. Awesome. Well, that was fun segments. Thank you so much. And now we got a little bit of news for you.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So first up, William Jackson Harper was on the Today Show. He talked about a lot of fun things, of course, being adorable as ever. One of the things that he talked about was his upcoming role. So his next role that he's already filmed is in a movie called Dark Waters, which is a movie by Tom Hanks where he plays a corporate defense attorney. So definitely check that out. And he said that Tom Hanks was a genius and a gentleman. And if you guys check out this trailer of Dark Waters, the scene with him is exactly like a Chidi scene.
Oh,
where he's
really?
just like questioning. He's like, so are you saying that we're doing this and doing this and doing this? I don't quite agree, but okay. It's really, really great.
funny.
But also in that movie is Mark Ruffalo, Anne Hathaway, and Tim Robbins.
Wow.
He's also going to be in a series about the book The Underground Railroad, which is going to be made by Barry Jenkins, who also was a filmmaker behind Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk. This is going to be on Amazon. And he said that he anticipates a lot of therapy after this here. And then if you, that is Barry Jenkins here, and that is the book that this series is going to be based on. And then also in this episode of the Today Show, in this interview, he talked about how he is terrified of his shirtless scenes. And I just wanted to add this because we didn't get any shirtless cheating today. So yeah, you know, drooly heart emojis. That's all it was. Hi, shirtless cheating. Also in news, Ted Danson was on Late Night with Seth Meyers last week. You guys talked about part of that interview. I found a few other interesting parts about that. He said that, so he's been on Cheers for 11 seasons, Becker was 6 seasons, and The Good Place was 4 seasons, and he said that this one is the most emotional of endings because they knew it was coming. Most series you're on, once it ends, it's just like you thought you were coming back and then it's over, but this one they know it's coming, so it's a little bit more bittersweet. Also, he's older, more experienced, and has gone through things, so, you know, it can be a little emotional. And also, he mentioned that there is a class on ethics at Notre Dame that talks about ethics as shown through The Good Place. It's called The Good Class. And they have a blog. I looked it up. There's a link to it that we can share with you guys. But
Can
it's
we attend?
so
Can
cute.
we pop in? Do you think we could reach
we're
out
gonna
to
go
the
to
teacher?
Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, let's go to Indiana.
Let's go. Let's get in the car. Let's head over there. But they have this really awesome blog. They were really excited that they were mentioned. They also were recently visited by Michael Schur. Like he came and spoke. So I mean, if they can get him, like I'm sure we can talk, right? We have more clout than the creator of the show we talk about, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Definitely. But yeah, if any of our viewers are part of that class, please let us know in the comments. Also, all of our viewers, just let us know what you think. We thank you guys so much for joining us here. Make sure you subscribe to our show, follow our updates on our podcasts, on YouTube, everywhere, and you know, we're just happy to be here talking to you guys about The Good Place. So, ladies, let's do our predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay.
Samantha.
Me?
Yes.
I think that Jason is gonna find Janet in the marble, but not. He's gonna take the marble. We're not gonna grow her, and he's gonna take her back to the good place.
Oh my gosh, I say all the time when there's somebody I just I want to put you in my pocket, and now he can put her in his
my
pocket.
I think it's gonna be a really good investigation where they're like da-na-na-na-na, and then they're gonna bring Janet home, and then maybe not figure out how to make her big again or something weird
Right
like
on.
that.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think that Michael is still bad, that it's Vicky. I think I agree with what you're saying, that it's going to be a little investigation and they're going to show us in the bad place. I liked what was said about them getting stuck in the bad place and then Suits coming back, just ruining the experiment overall. And then now Eleanor and all them have to go to the bad place to figure out what the hell's going on. So
Yeah, really great predictions. I'm unsure about why we're only sending the 2 and why we're not calling the judge, because we do have proof now that the bad place overstepped.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm sketched about this, about what potentially bad Michael is doing, bringing good Jason to the bad place. Like, they're tearing them apart. I think it's a ploy. I think that there's bigger things at play than just going to rescue Janet.
We'll see.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, fabulous talk, ladies. Thank you guys always for this amazing conversation. Samantha, tell us where they can find you online.
You can find me on Instagram at storyof_Samantha.
You can find me on all social media at IamBollyGirl.
Yes, and I am Mary Lou Mandel. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You can find me all over the internet at Mary Lou Mandel, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye!
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.